Welcome to White Regis TV film review and preview. I'm Andrew Wright. Last week, the Super Mario Bros. Movie was released in cinemas. The film comes from the studio behind the ever-popular Minions franchise and stars Chris Pratt and Charlie Day as the famous plumber brothers, Mario and Luigi, who take a trip to another world to help Princess Peach stop Bowser from destroying the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, I saw this film in the cinema, and I have to say it was the most fun I've had at the cinema in definitely a good while, about a good few months. And I really enjoyed the visuals of the film, sound, and the soundtrack was the first soundtrack I enjoyed since Inception, which was back in 2010. I also thought Jack Black as Bowser was easily the best member of the cast, with an apparently Oscars-eligible contribution to the soundtrack. However, I felt that the film's script was very formulaic, and I wasn't particularly impressed by the cast's performances either. But at the end of the day, it was an incredibly fun watch, packed full of Mario Easter eggs and references to make everybody happy. I gave this film 3.5 stars out of 5. Last weekend, I unexpectedly got the opportunity to check out Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves in the cinemas. In cinema, the film stars familiar blockbuster names Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, and Sophia Lillis as a misfit group of thieves who seek to break into a former friend-turned-enemy's castle in order to right their wrongs. So this film is a straightforward fantasy film. It feels like everything good about it had to sacrifice something else in order to get there. Chris Pine had great chemistry with everyone, but the British cast members aren't as charismatic and charming as they think they are. There is great cinematography when establishing fantastical locations like a village or a city, but there is wonky CGI, and the script has some good and funny banter in it, but it just feels very formulaic at the end of the day. So I gave this film 3.5 stars out of 5. This weekend, the horror comedy film Renfield releases in cinemas. Renfield stars Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult, and Awkwafina, and revolves around Dracula's lackey, R.M. Renfield, played by Hoult, who falls in love with a New Orleans traffic cop, played by Awkwafina, and decides to stand up to his creator, Dracula, played by Cage. The film is notable for being the first live-action film by a major Hollywood studio to feature Nicolas Cage since 2011 due to his exit from Hollywood. The film so far has about 83% positive reviews from critics and is in cinemas this weekend. For the past week, a low-budget horror film starring Russell Crowe has been in cinemas. The film is titled The Pope's Exorcist and is based on the memoirs of one of the founders of the International Association of Exorcists. So it's a bit like the Conjuring films in that it says it's a supernatural horror film that is based on a true story, but there's no scientific evidence to back it up, but it's just, what someone says. The film has been in cinemas for a week in the UK and has about 64% positive reviews from critics. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week, where I will preview Evil Dead Rise, the newest film in the Evil Dead franchise. Now back to Gary in the studio.